See all these friendly faces out there. My name is Jill Lilly, and I am with the Center County ACAP, the Center County chapter. We are thrilled to have the Office of Aging share a lot of information with you tonight that will hopefully be a benefit to you if you're a caregiver, or even if you're not a caregiver. I think there's programs kind of there for everybody. And without rambling on here, I do want to acknowledge our core sponsors. We could not be in existence without our core sponsors. They donate money to us so that we can put on these programs, have a dinner occasionally, and produce flyers and other things. So our core sponsors are Encompass and Grain Hospice, Juniper, and the Office of Aging. So with that said, one other kind of a housekeeping item. We have restrooms in the back down that hallway, and feel free to, if you haven't already, grab something to eat. Please help yourself. We've got lots of goodies from Olive Garden. So I'm going to turn this over to the Director of the Office of Aging, which would be Quentin Burchfield. Quentin.
Okay. Hello, my name is Quentin Burchfield. I'm the director at Center County Office on Aging. I'm going to talk about some of the programs we have that we offer our older adults in our area. And then Sandy Schuckers is going to also go over a couple of programs. We did have a couple more who were coming today, but were unfortunately unable to make it, so I'm going to do their part as well. Our office isn't a very big office. However, we do have a lot of different programs. And what I have found doing outreach is there's some programs people have absolutely no idea that are available through our office. So I think this is a really good opportunity to let you know the variety of possibilities for how we assist our older adults. It isn't just in-home care. There is other things we do that can provide assistance to people. Some of them don't even have income guidelines too. One of the big things that we're a huge referral source. So we get a lot of people who call us who do not know who to talk to. And our intake worker actually is trained to not only know our services, but know the available services in the community as well. The other thing is we do have a contract with MidPenn, and we do provide on a limited basis legal services for our older adults. We're looking at possibly someone who's having a tenant issue. Maybe they're being evicted from their apartment. It could be a situation where they've been denied a benefit and they need help with the appeal. If they just need a legal counsel to kind of go over their situation and give them maybe some advice. They do not do criminal, they don't do civil. So then we're able to do like a 2-hour consult for those types of situations. Sandy's going to talk about our meal program, but we also in the State College School District, the nonprofit Meals on Wheels does meals for people who are homebound. And we do referrals to them. And then one of our biggest referral is one of the first questions we ask anybody we interact with is, are you a veteran? Because right above us on the 3rd floor is Veterans Affairs and Brian Query. And they do have a lot of services that not only are really good, but also complement the type of things we can do as well. So the first program I'm going to talk about is the Ombudsman program. So Ombudsman is actually Swedish for advocate. And so basically you have a situation where somebody, maybe they live in a nursing home, maybe they live in a personal care home, and they're having some sort of an issue and they don't feel like their voice is being heard. We have an ombudsman, and we also have volunteer ombudsman who will go out to the facilities and they will talk to the person, be their advocate, and maybe be a mediator with the facility. Now, this is really not where somebody's being abused. This is where somebody maybe doesn't agree with the policy, or they don't feel they're being heard at their care plan meetings. They're the type of things that an ombudsman can get involved in. The other thing is just going out and doing residents' rights. So people think whatever the facility says goes, and they don't understand what kind of rights they have as a resident at a facility. So that's one of the big things that our ombudsman does, is let people know what their rights are in the facilities. And then the final thing they do is a really cool program called Peer Group, where they actually train other residents of the facility to be advocates for other residents. So they will train them, and maybe they're a little better off than somebody else, and then they can advocate for that person and their rights to get what they need at the facility. So that's also a really cool program as well. Volunteering for the ombudsman. Usually what we do is when someone's interested in volunteering, we try to hook them up with one of the facilities in Center County, and they kind of adopt that facility. And then there's extensive training. And then once they're trained, then if somebody comes up and needs assistance, then our ombudsman either takes it, or we'll talk to a volunteer, and the volunteer will go out and talk to the older adult to see what type of assistance they need. It is very resident, older adult focused. If the person's fine with the situation and the family's not, we go by what the person wants. It's very centered on the person. It's person-centered. So one of our other programs we have is called the Caregiver Support Program. This has always been my favorite program. I used to case manage it 20 years ago. And it is an actual reimbursement program for people who are caring for other people. So basically, it has to have a senior involved in it. So you could have a person who is caring for an older adult. It could be an older adult who's caring for an adult child who has a disability, or it could be an older adult who's caring for a grandchild and is primary caregiver for. So basically, in these situations, they're providing supplies, services. There's a limited amount of funds available for like a home mod or durable good. They submit receipts with forms that we have, and then we can reimburse them for some of their costs. It's based on household income. So it's a really nice program that can actually morph with the needs of the caregiver. I like to give you the example of maybe you have a caregiver, say you have a husband who's caring for his wife, and he is working. So he needs someone to come and stay with his wife while he's at work. So perhaps he is submitting us receipts and forms for respite care for someone to commit. Let's say the spouse then retires and no longer needs the aid in there because he's home now. Now he's actually using the program to get reimbursed for incontinence supplies. So like I said, there's a lot the program can do. It's right now it's $600 a month max, but it's based on household income. You get reimbursed a percentage based on your household income. So that's kind of how it works. So we do collect, and if you make too much money, you're not available for the program. However, right now we're on a waiting list, which is unfortunate. With like two of the programs going to talk about, our needs are great, and the funding has stayed relatively flat. So we're really hitting the mark now where our waiting list is basically we do an assessment. The people based on their score get a number. And then as the expenses go down and people go off the program, we're allowed to put people on the program based on their score. So that's kind of where we're at with the program right now. I'm really hoping that we can get additional funding towards the end of the fiscal year, and we can take a couple of people off. So, and it's the first time we've ever been on the waiting list for this program. So our other in-home service program is our options program. So that is where we're talking about having assistance with a bath. We can provide up to 5 hours a week to help somebody, assist them with getting in and out of the shower and their personal care needs. We do have 4 providers who provide assistance with this program. Again, there is income guidelines with it as well. The one challenge that we have found is not only is the availability of aides, especially in some of the rural areas in Center County. We have struggled to find aides for that. The other part of the program that we do provide is the emergency buttons. So if you ever seen on TV, I've fallen and I can't get up, and they either have it on the wrist or around their neck, we do provide those buttons to people. We do have ones that actually have the fall detection as well, and I think we're looking at possibly adding the GPS ones at this point. So we have a lot of people, as long as they have a fall risk, we can look to provide that. Again, where it's the same as with the caregiver program right now, there is a waiting list for that service. So we are assessing people, and then as people come off the program, we'll be putting people on. So one of the other services we provide is level of care assessments. We provide those for the Department of Human Services, and we do them in two different ways. One is if somebody goes to a nursing home, and let's say they go to the hospital and then they're having rehab, and they go through the rehab and they maxed out the rehab, but they can't go home. At that point, then they have to apply for medical assistance in order to pay for their stay at the nursing home. And at that point, then the county assistance office then will review the finances. The aging office then goes in and does a functional assessment. So we determine that their functional level is appropriate for a nursing home. And then between the financial review and then our functional assessment, then that allows them to get approved for medical assistance to stay for their stay, which generally is long-term at that point. So we also provide these assessments as well for the CHC waiver program, Community Health Choices Waiver Program. So the waiver program is actually the nursing home services that are brought into the home for the person. So it has the same functional, you have to be nursing home appropriate for the program. So we do the assessments for those as well. So the other program I want to talk about is protective services. So we take reports of need for anybody in Center County. If the person would be under 18 years of age, we will take a report and then we will contact Childline. If somebody is 18 to 59, we will take the report, and then there is a company called Liberty Healthcare who actually investigates abuse for people who are between that age range. 60 and over, we take the reports of abuse, and then we also investigate them as well. What does that mean to investigate? What's our role? Well, our role is to basically find out if there's a need for protective services. And then if there is a need, build a care plan with the older adult and come up with a way to mitigate or eliminate the risk that they're having. That's our role under protective services. So the abuse could be physical abuse, hitting, punching, biting, pinching, sexual abuse. This could happen in the home or in a facility where inappropriate touching, rape. Self-neglect is the highest report that we get. It's when somebody's not able to take care of themselves. And unfortunately, they put themselves at risk at that point, and we get reports of those. Caregiver neglect, which could be in a home or it could be in a facility. Neglect or caregiver neglect, maybe the caregiver's burnout, maybe there's a situation where the person's just not able to physically do the care anymore. In a facility, you could have possibility of a situation where there's a care plan for a two-person assist for somebody who can't get around very well. They're in a hurry. They use one person. The person falls, breaks a hip. That is caregiver neglect because they didn't follow a care plan. So we also investigate those reports as well. Abandonment is very rare, but it's basically dropping someone off at a store, at a church, at a hospital, and just leaving them and not contacting anybody. The highest riser of reports that we get is financial exploitation. So financial exploitation usually come into two possibilities. One has to do with the scams, which is you've won the Canadian lottery, Just send me the taxes and I will send you your winnings. Romance scams. We've seen a lot of those where someone's in love online and they keep sending them money. The person doesn't exist. The other is it's a really sad situation where you have a family member who's exploiting their older adult. They take them to the bank. They get put on the accounts. You start to see the accounts go down. Utilities aren't being paid. The person's going without food and medications. So we get those reports from like the hospitals and from concerned people. And it's really sad situations when that's going on. Power of attorneys who are supposed to be caring for the person and doing stuff in their best interest, and they're not doing it. We've gotten more reports of that as far as the fastest riser every year is there's more and more of the financial exploitation. They tend to also, when the economy's not doing well, they tend to rise as well. And then emotional abuse. So emotional abuse can be really difficult to determine what's going on. Some people can be kind of gruff when they talk to each other, and that's just normal for them. Other people they could be affected by what's going on. So you could have a situation where someone's being put down constantly and it's affecting them. It's affecting their health. It's affecting them emotionally. It's isolating them. That is emotional abuse. So again, we investigate, we determine if there's a need for help. If there is, then we substantiate the case, we build a care plan, and then we work with the older adult to get them safe. There is limited situations where the person can't make decisions. The doctor says they can't sign off on the care plan. And then at that point, we could be looking at a guardian or a family member who is making decisions. It's one of the reasons I say power of attorneys are so important. Because if you have a power of attorney in place and then you're not able to make decisions, the power of attorney can take over and that trusted person can make decisions for you. It's a whole lot tougher when you don't have that because then you have to go through the courts. Protective services is 365 days a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. We do on-call. We're available on Christmas. We take reports at all times. Based on how the report comes in, we categorize them. They're either considered emergencies. Priority is within 24 hours, and then we have non-priorities, which is we're starting the investigation within 72 hours. So there's a pretty quick turnaround from the time we get called to the time we're out to see the people and to address the issues. So the last program the second to last program I'm going to talk about is the Retired Volunteers Program, RSVP. So RSVP is part of our aging office, and I believe we have over 300 partners that we partner with for volunteering. If somebody is interested, say they retire and they're interested in volunteering, they can contact our office, and then Brenda and Ashley work in our RSVP program. They will go through what opportunities are available for the volunteers, and they will match them with an experience that they're interested in. They provide volunteers for the Meals on Wheels program. There's VITA, which is the tax assistance, which is a big program for us. We do taxes for older adults for free. We're just starting training actually with that right now. And once that's over, we really get into assisting with rent rebates, which actually have just increased. Now, I believe it's about $45,000 and below income if you're eligible for some form of a tax rent or tax rebate. And the max amount someone can receive now is up to $1,000. So it's really a great program for people who are on fixed income. And we assist them with applying for it. We help them fill out the applications through our volunteers. We also have a telephone touch program, which if somebody needs some phone calls, some assistance, they're able to call us, and we're able to go through our list of volunteers and hook them up with a volunteer who will make regular calls to them. The one thing I will say about volunteering is I've seen it a lot where people retire. They get used to being at home. Their health gets worse. Perhaps they put on weight. Depression sets in. And I think really volunteering is a way to prevent that from happening. People get involved. People contribute. Center County has one of the best volunteer programs in RSVP, but just in general, I'm really proud of how many volunteers we have in the county. It's really a feather in Center County's cap. Unfortunately, though, you got to consistently have volunteers every year, new volunteers, because as people get older, they're not able to do as much. So I really would encourage, even if it isn't through RSVP, for you to volunteer. You really will get a lot out of it. Now, the last program I wanted to talk about is we're just in the process of completing our first Echo House, which is an elder cottage housing opportunity. So the housing, it basically looks like you see like a rail car, and it is furnished inside, and it has the ability to be moved. And basically the scenario is you have a situation where you have a family, and they want to keep grandma with them, but they just don't have the space. They have nowhere for them to stay, but maybe they have a little land with where the house is. This structure can be put on the property, and then grandma or grandpa or the older adult can actually live there. They pay, it's just like subsidized housing. I think it's 30% of their income goes towards the rent and then the upkeep of the actual structure. When the person's done with it, then whoever's next on the list gets it. It gets refurbished and then it goes to the next person. So some of the surrounding counties have a couple of these. Center County has started, and we have our first one, which is actually, we're finalizing our list of people right now, our top candidates, and then they're going to be talking to codes, because this is can be a big issue in certain townships, trying to get approval for it, and then it's going to go to the first family. We've seen enough for these types of housing opportunities that I think once we have the next opportunity, we may apply for another grant to have another one done. It's been a bit of a challenge because when we started this, supplies were a lot cheaper than they are now. So there's been some delays with it, but I think it's a really good opportunity, especially as we can see, there's not a lot of housing opportunities for older adults in Center County, but in Pennsylvania in general. So this is an option I think that would be really beneficial, specific to people that want to keep their loved one close to them and in the community. And this is also a benefit for the community as well, because that person who's been there for 50, 60 years gets to stay in the community and doesn't go to a personal care home across town. They're able to stay with the family, and they're able to go to church. They're able to participate in the same activities they did before. So I think it's a really good opportunity, and I'm looking forward to completing our first one. I did want to mention as well, I did lay some resources over there, and it's on the table there if anybody's interested, including our green books. We do have our green books on our website electronically, but we also have them hard copy there. Our green books are basically anything we could think of that an older adult could use. It's focused on Center County. We put into that green book. We try to have it updated about every 2 years. Whenever we're able to, we will do that. So it's a really good resource for older adults and families of older adults. If they have a need, they can look through the book. They may be able to find the resource they need.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
You also have a program that deals with Medicare?
Oh, thank you for saying that, because I completely skipped over that.
It was on my list.
Oh, great. Okay, good. So the one program I actually just jumped right over is called, it used to be called a prize, but it's now called PA Medi. And it is anybody who's eligible for Medicare. So this is not, there is no age restriction for this. You could have somebody who was disabled at a young age and became Medicare eligible. The issue with Medicare is it can be extremely, especially when you're first starting out, to try to figure out what plan is best for you. It's a very complicated. And we've been given the task as aging offices to provide counseling to people who are new to Medicare and also who have Medicare and would like to change their plans. We are actually right now in what's called the enrollment period for people who would like to change their plans for Medicare. So anybody who has Medicare, not medical assistance, but Medicare, there is a limited time each year when you can change your plan. Well, why would you want to change your plan? Well, it could be that you're on new medications that are covered by your plan. It could be that your plan went away. It could be that your premiums are much higher. I recommend that everybody check their plan once a year to make sure they're getting their best bang for their buck as far as their Medicare plan. And we're certainly here to help. That's the one thing that we're noticing. We see a lot of people come in initially, but then they never come back. And Paul Mackus, who's been counseling for 30 years, he told me one time, he said, listen, I keep telling people, you're not married to your plans. If there's something else that'll help you better, then you need to consider it. And looking at Medicare plans, when you're maybe you're younger on Medicare, if you perhaps you don't have a lot of medical issues, maybe you want to have a plan that has a lower premium. But as you get older and perhaps you're accessing your Medicare more, perhaps that plan's not going to work for you anymore. You're going to want something that has a little higher premium, but you're able to get more benefit out of it. So your plan needs to adjust with your needs as well. So that makes it really important. Our period is from October 15th through December 7th. So I put a huge billboard on the website saying, please call us now, set up your appointments. The problem is the closer we get to the end of the year, to December 7th, our volunteers get filled up with appointments. So October, now in November, is the time to call us to set up your appointments. Calling us on December 5th and wanting an appointment, we may not have a spot. I talked to Colin recently, who's our coordinator for that, and he said they're doing pretty good. They think they might be able to absorb people in, but we also just got a call from the Clearfield Aging Office who were wondering if we can take some possible counseling because they lost their coordinator. So it's really important that people don't wait to the last minute. We also do counseling all year long. There's people who are becoming eligible all year long, so those people can get set up. And essentially what we do is we do a plan comparison. So we take what medications you're on, and then we will basically provide you comparisons, and then you choose what plan you think is best for you. We do have volunteers for PA Medi as well. So that's a program a lot of people really enjoy volunteering in. So that and the Ombudsman are two of our big in-house volunteer opportunities. Okay. Sandy, and then I guess we'll take questions then.
Yeah, I'm going to just say a couple things. If you came in late and did not get dinner, please do not hesitate to go on up and grab something to eat. We have plenty up there. And the other thing is, speaking of volunteers, ACAP is always happy to have folks who you may have a heart for seniors and might be looking for a volunteer opportunity. We would certainly welcome you as part of the leadership team to give us input and possibly a different outlook on things. So if that might be of interest, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. Thanks.
Hi, everyone.
Okay.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Sandy Schuckers from the Office of Aging, and I have been with the county a long time. I'm on the ACAP board team,
Team.
not board, team. We go team. And so I'm going to start out by talking about our home delivered meal program. This is a great program that helps people stay at home a really long time if the only need they have is food. As Quentin mentioned, Meals on Wheels provides meals for the State College School District. We do everywhere else. We're sending out about 80,000 meals a year. It's a lot of meals. It's a lot of miles. It's a lot of routes. They are delivered by our transportation office, which is also a county run office. They come either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday in a box of 5. And for some folks who have a greater need, they can also receive a box of 2. So they're receiving meals for 7 days a week. The nice thing about the frozen meals is you get choice all week as to what you're eating. We're hoping at some point we'll be able to go back to fresh meals, but that is a couple years in the future. But we're all working towards that. To receive meals, someone just needs to call the office. It could be the person in need. It can be a neighbor. It can be a family member. It could be your mailman. It could be anybody. You just have to be 60 in Center County and not the State College School District. I'm sorry, I keep losing my voice.
I'll get you some water.
It's right there at my seat. Thank you. Where was I? At home. Thank you.
You're welcome.
They have to be 60.
You have to be 60. The nice thing is that if you are caregiving for someone who is over 60 who's getting meals, as the caregiver, no matter your age, you should be over 18 though, you can also receive meals. We don't have very many people taking advantage of that. Few spouses take that on. But it is a really nice way for people to stretch their food dollar also. We have routes that cover Phillipsburg, Snowshoe. Route 1 goes from Bellefonte all the way down to Bald Eagle. They actually have to go into Blair County and back. We have Route 3 does the Penns Valley area. It's a really big route. And Route 2 does from Bellefonte all the way down into the mountain and all the way down to Blanchard Beach Creek. And then Route 4 and 5 does downtown Bellefonte, Pleasant Gap area. They do a really good job. They're delivered in the mornings, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. The other meals that I'm going to talk about are the senior center meals, and I'll get to senior centers after meals. That's a program where folks can, based on the days that the 6 senior centers that we have in Center County are open. We have some that are open Monday through Friday, some that are open Tuesdays and Thursdays, and some are a little more varied than that. So the menu is provided to me and I edit and edit and edit so that what's the one thing we all have in common? Food and complaints. So we get very, very, very few complaints about our meals, which is awesome. I work really hard to provide meals at the senior centers that are tasty. They are currently cooked at the Penns Valley High School. Donna at the kitchen does a superb job. Let me give you a taste of what we're going to a taste.
No pun intended.
No pun intended that time. So we're going to have let's see, in December, pulled pork sandwich, coleslaw, sweet potato puffs, and seasonal fresh fruit. What else are we having? We are having, for a holiday meal, we are having roast beef, and they make homemade stuffing, which we're having. Mashed potatoes, green bean casserole, and apple pie. We're also having baked ravioli, bratwurst, tuna salad sandwiches. So it's a really nice, varied menu based on, and I go to the centers all the time and ask for their input, what's going well, what's tasty, and what they don't want. Most of the time I don't hear the don't wants too much anymore, which is awesome. Under the Older Americans Act, there is no fee for meals. We do ask for donations. The meal itself costs the Office of Aging $6 and a penny. We ask for a $2 donation. People can make a donation. It's anonymous. We have containers off to the side. Some people write a check because they've checked off all month when they're going to be there. They count it up and they've donated $2 per meal, $1 per meal, whatever they can. But it helps us continue the program. The senior centers are really, really active places. These are places that perhaps your older adult that you're caring for isn't as eligible for as you are. It's for anybody 60 and over. You can sign up for programs. You can just come in and say, hey, I want to, what am I doing that day? Let's see. I'm going to do the exercise program this morning, and I'm only coming in for that. You don't have to stay for a meal. You don't have to come for anything else.
Sandy, can I just point out that the active adult center is 55, you'll need to be 55
Yep.
for the 10 year.
Yep. Active adult is 55. So we have 6 senior centers. 5 are under the completely under the Office of Aging, and the active adult center is a partnership. The county provides funding, and Park and Recreation provides staffing and lots of good stuff, but they are 55 and over. The Office of Aging centers are all 60 and over. Anyway, yes. Transportation by the county can be provided for people to attend the centers. To do that, folks sign up with the senior center manager versus calling transportation. For the active adult center, they can ride Cataride, and people can drive. I do think that moving to Nittany Mall has been a wonderful boon to the senior center because they don't have to park in that parking garage downtown anymore. Plenty of free flat parking. So the senior centers we have are Phillipsburg, Snowshoe, Bellefonte is next to Pizza Mia. Penns Valley is out in Madisonburg. Center Hall is in the new fire hall, which is gorgeous. And then here at the Active Adult Center. You're able to attend any center you want, although we do ask that you try the one closest to you. As I said, they're fun, active places. We do activities based on what folks want to do. They're just really fun places. The Bellefonte Center manager and I have sort of taken on the role of tour guides, that we have been able to take people on trips that they have requested us to do. Vicki took them to Alaska. I didn't go there. But we've gone to the beach several times, but they're really, because they're more hands-on, and we're not charging an arm and a leg. Recently, they went to Michigan, and we charged $9.25. I saw the exact same trip for over $1,600. So we're not in it to make money. We're in it for the participants. We're not a bus company. Those are limited to maybe once a year, but they are active places. We also, what don't we do? Between crafts and cards and games and parties, and we don't go to casinos. They don't want to go to casinos anymore.
Oh.
Can't get a bus trip going to a casino. I've tried.
Sight and sound.
Yep, they've gone Sight and Sound. They've gone to Longwood Gardens, Pittsburgh for a river cruise. So they really are nice places. And the cool thing is, you bring your friends, you got a place to hang out, and lunch is on us. They are also a really great way to stretch your food dollar. There's nowhere you're going to get this balanced meal for $2. And even if you can't make a donation, that you would be able to get this balanced meal. Frequently get people who say that it really helps them get through the month because they don't have to worry about having such a big dinner, or even, a big bowl of cereal for dinner kind of girl anyway. Let's see, what else am I missing? I have senior center listings. If anybody wants a particular senior center, I have those here. Feel free to ask for any or all of them. Happy to share them. We're open Monday through Friday at Active Adult Center, Phillipsburg, and Bellefonte. Although Mondays is a shopping day for the Bellefonte Center. Tuesday, Thursday at Snowshoe and Center Hall, and Monday, Wednesday at Penns Valley, and Center Hall and Penns Valley are shopping on Fridays. So I'm trying to balance those meals with when people are in, what they like, and it goes pretty well. Encourage, if someone is being discharged from the hospital or from a nursing home or personal care home, they can call in and we can get meals started with appropriate paperwork. That's back to home delivered meals. Trying to think what else. Just really good stuff.
Sandy,
Yeah.
they also, if you can get someone to go once, that's really the key. You can get them to go and to try it. A lot of times they go back, and a lot of times they end up developing friendships that become lifelong friendships. The people at these centers are fantastic people. They are funny. They like to have a good time. They're there to have a good time, and it's infectious. So really, I think you have somebody who's kind of isolated because of their circumstances is really trying to get them to try it once, because there's a good chance if you can get them to try it once, they're going to go back.
The other thing we have is a nonprofit. It's the Center County Senior Center Coalition. And what we do is raise funds and awareness of the senior centers. And because of that, because of that group, was able to deliver a new cornhole board, really good boards too, to the Snowshoe group this morning. And they were darn right giddy. They were getting their professional cornhole boards. They were getting their tape out and going to go measure it in the hallway and be ready to throw some bags. So, good stuff.
I set up their Roku up there, and I'm now a hero.
And I fixed somebody's phone today, and I'm a hero. So,
Any questions?
yeah, any questions about anything? Anybody want any calendars? Menus are always on the back of our of the 5 senior centers, and
Ours are separate.
Yeah.
It's still the
Active
same.
Adult has them, and they're just separate because their
How about
calendars
the
are ginormous.
transportation?
Hmm?
Do you want to talk a little bit about transportation?
Transportation is available for anybody. If you're on Medicaid, you can ride to the doctors. If you have, if you're coming to a senior center, you call, you schedule through a senior center to come to the center. Again, with meals, you would need to schedule in advance. So everything is a pre-scheduling to attend. Transportation is a shared ride. You'll see the white vans all over town. They do a really good job of getting groups of people from there to there. You are at the mercy of everyone on the van. You will always get to your appointment on time, but you may have to wait to get home, and that's okay because you got to your appointment. It's a really great service. Their office is out of Milesburg in the old where the bus garage used to be. They had the carnival out there when my kids were little. Is there anything particular you can think of?
No, I just,
Okay.
that it's available for medical
Yep.
appointments and.
It is, yep. The other program that we have at the Office of Aging that we've been tasked with is the Farmer Market Voucher Program. We get checks from Department of Ag that we distribute. It was $50 per person this year, which was pretty substantial increase, was from $24 to $50 per person. The income guidelines for one person was 26 and change, and for 2 was 36,000 and change. You have until the end of November to spend those, but they have to be distributed by the end of September. So it's really a good program. Helped people stretch, like households were getting $100 of fresh fruits and vegetables from a farmer's market, not Walmart, not Weis, but a farmer's market that has gone through there's a stringent program that they have to abide by. And I think they have to grow 50% of what they sell, and they can't sell you something that isn't grown in Pennsylvania. So I've had folks that the gentleman who used to sell in front of Ollie's is now over at the Assembly of God Church, and he would tell people you can't spend that on here. Well, it's because it's a watermelon in June. There's no watermelon in June in Pennsylvania. So he definitely, you have to follow the guidelines. But it's a great program. We usually get the checks in June, distribute in June. This year. They didn't arrive till July, so we distributed to more folks this year in a shorter amount of time than we ever have. So another great program.
Sandy, what's the charge for the home delivered meals?
The undelivered meals is, we ask for $2 a meal, but that's a donation. If somebody
Right,
has,
there's no
have
charge.
I'm just curious how much these types of services vary county to county across the state.
We are a county-based Office of Aging. Every county that touches us is a nonprofit. So there's a lot of variation. We still offer the same programs, but their staffing maybe look very different than ours does.
So we could have a program available here, which may be on a waiting list there, vice versa. So funding is different. The contribution of the county could be different. And each county gets different funding from the state. So the allocation, the state's trying to do a better job of making it fair. Basically, they really haven't changed the funding system for decades. And they finally were pushed by the federal government to do something a couple years ago. So they have a 5-year plan where they're making it more equitable. Before they just kept the funding in the counties, and you'd have a situation where Allegheny couldn't spend all their money because people were moving from the urban areas to the country. And then you'd have places like Center County that continue to grow, continue to have more older adults, people coming back to retire who needed more money. And we were that, as one of my friends who retired said, we were one of the have-nots. So over the next 5 years, they're supposed to be gradually reallocating the money. I think Philadelphia is going to lose close to $2 million out of their budget. Allegheny, I think it's like 1.2 million. And that money is going to be distributed to the more rural areas where they're seeing an increase in their population, increase in older adults. So we're hoping that over the next couple of years, we're going to see more funding. But everything's getting more expensive. So how much of an impact that's going to have in a couple of years, that's up for debate because everything is more expensive. So it may just keep us afloat, or it may not have the impact we want it to have.
But by and large, you're saying then that the general programs are the same
Yes.
across the state?
Yeah, they're all the same. Just the availability of it varies county to county. So, there could be like special programs they have, like Echo House is not something every county does. That is on a grant you have to apply for. So there could be stuff like that are unique to a county. But all the stuff, the funding, the stuff, majority of stuff that come from the state, they're available in every county.
Before COVID-19, there were over 600 senior centers, and we're down to under 500 now. So there has been a shift.
I have a question. For the transportation services, now, since they're elderly, like my in-laws, they have a cane and a walker. Do they help them?
It's a door-to-door service where CATA is a curb-to-curb service. And they have lift vans available. So if they can't go up the steps to get in the van, they can request a lift van, which is helpful. You can also have someone go with them as an escort. Even if they're under 60, they just would be an escort.
Like say they'd want to go from my house to a senior center.
Mhm.
I wouldn't go. But would there be someone to help them get on the van?
The van driver would meet them at the door.
Okay. Okay.
Right, and they would walk them to our door.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. And we really want to fight isolation.
Well, that's one concern I had is my father-in-law pretty much, he can't hardly hear. So if he would go to the senior center, I don't know how much interaction he would have because he has trouble hearing, but I think maybe there'd be other people there with a similar problem. So,
But it's certainly going to get a lot more visual stimulation. Is he a veteran?
yes,
Does he have hearing aids from the VA?
no, but when he moves here, he will get them.
Fabulous.
Yeah, I would say checking in with Veterans Affairs just to see what's available. I would do that for every veteran because one of the other things too is getting in their system makes it much quicker when you need them. If you're not in the system and then you're going through the process, it takes months compared to even if you go and you get into the system and maybe you go once a year to the VA doctor and you just get into the system. Then if something comes up, the benefits, you're right there, you're in it. They've already proven that you're a veteran. They've already done everything. So the access to services is quicker.
And your mother may also be eligible because he's a veteran.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's some benefits for
Yeah.
the spouses
Spouses.
as well, especially if they're wartime vets.
They are.
Yep.
Well, he was.
And I can say as the supervisor here at the Active Adult Center, we do have some participants that have hearing issues, but we do a lot of different programming that really don't really have to completely have good hearing to be able to enjoy that program.
Yeah.
So we have a variation that kind of fits all of our folks.
I will say too, the senior center managers are very good at making sure people are engaged. And if they do know that someone has some form of issue communicating, I think they will keep an eye on them and try to get them participating in the activities they can.
Okay, that's good news.
And the nice thing is if they come to a senior center and they all go out shopping and for lunch and that kind of stuff, and it's a nice way for them to get to know the community too, since they're moving here and they're not driving, which we appreciate.
But
And-
isolation is a big thing.
Yes.
And it's tough whenever they start getting settled in and then trying to get them to do it. It's always good when they first come to try to get them active so that so they don't get used to it.
Yeah.
One more.
Yeah.
Do you do assessments at people's homes as to whether or not the house is really safe for them? You know, if it's a lot of steps and things like that, I mean, who determines that type of?
Well, I mean, we do have like certain programs like with the caregiver program where we can do home modifications. What we do is we get medical necessity and it has to be a licensed contractor to do it. But we don't have like occupational therapists or anybody who has the expertise to be able to kind of evaluate a home. That's more of an occupational therapist, which you can talk to a home health agency and they can assist.
Talk to Encompass.
Whenever you're doing like a transition, a lot of times they will offer a home eval. If you have somebody who's transitioning like from hospital or from an Encompass, they will do that to evaluate and provide recommendations.
Looks like that might be it.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Before I let you go, please feel free to hang out for a bit. We really want to form a sense of community with the folks that are caregivers and or in an industry that works with caregivers. So it's nice to have such a nice group here. And I'm thankful that you all came out today. I kind of was remiss in not introducing our team members that are here. Sandy Schuckers, Mitch Straub, and back in the corner is Holly Ray. So if I could ask one other thing, I would like to know, I would like some feedback on what you all are looking for in the way of topics. I know in the past dementia has always been a hot topic, but is there anything that any of you want to know more about that we could provide to you? No? It'll come to you probably, 10 o'clock tonight.
Helping elderly pare down when they're thinking about moving out of their homes.
Yeah,
My mother-in-law
downsizing.
is overwhelmed with how much, and she doesn't have a messy house. Just that how to get rid of things is really tough for her.
Okay, that is a good topic too. Anybody else? No? Well, thank you again for coming. Feel free, as I said, to hang out for a bit if you'd like to chat with other people, find out a little bit about their interest in ACAP, and we hope to see you. We will not have a presentation in December. We decided it's a crazy enough month without adding to it, but we will be back in January. So the second Tuesday of every month at 5:30, we will be here, or should be here. And if you have not gotten on our email list, I would encourage you to do that, because we will keep you up to date as far as up and coming programs. Thanks so much, everybody.
And if anybody has any questions about the Active Adult Center or would like a tour of the rest of the facility or has any questions, please feel free to come to me. I'd be glad to help you.
Thank you.